Ooh, it is a very exciting day today, as the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword has finally come out on the Nintendo Wii. Elmo, how do you feel about this one, my friend? Are you looking forward to it?
Yes, Joe, I'm really looking forward to playing this one. Twilight Princess was a joy, so really looking forward to this game too.
But Elmo, I have some unfortunate news. You cannot play this game. You are a puppet. Good day, everybody, and welcome to the House of Mario, the South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by a 120 Power Star rating. And today, we're talking all about our weekend with The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. Nintendo has a brand new competitor in the handheld gaming race, and a re-release is a good thing. And to talk all about that is my best mate, Bryce DeWitt.
Hello.
Bryce, hello.
Hello.
Hope you're going well, Bryce.
Dead inside.
Dead inside, that's no good.
I'm playing like 20 plus hours of Skyward Sword.
Yeah. See, I don't know why or how you did that, but
Well, I mean, I like, okay, so like obviously, you know that I'm writing about it. I've got a code. Thank you, Nintendo, very much. And I've been given 2 weeks to review it. 2, which is outside the usual standard that I usually get to review games. Granted, this one is, comparatively probably a little bit longer of an experience to what, most would be. But I really just want to get through it, and then I'm thinking about 100%ing it because it's not that hard.
yeah.
And then I can make like a full non-stop, like, this is it, this is 100%, I've done everything, this is my thoughts, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, sounds very dangerous. I hope your health is still on point.
Yes.
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 Yes. I don't know about that.
Skyward Sword.
Well, before we get into the Skyward Sword stuff, because I dare say that's going to take
yes it will.
a decent amount of our time here today, I just want to point out a brand new Apple podcast review. So thank you very much. It's a gobbledygook name, so I'm not going to try. But they say, very enjoyable, Australian humour is top notch. But Van Bryce, they're a bit cheeky. They're trying to put in a few shout outs for some other podcasts, but I'll allow it. Thank you very much for the 5-star review. Shout out to Sans Pants and Mr. Sunday Movies, other great Australian podcasts. Personally, I haven't heard of them, but hey, if you've got the time for us and you listen to them as well, I'm sure they're worth your listen. So
Beautiful.
Well done, Mr. Sunday Podcasts.
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Fellow Australians, how you going? We're the House of Mario. If Mr. Sunday Movies or anyone sees us, hello. Hello, it's us.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
So that can also be the Guru Geek Out.
That's there
There you go.
There goes the geek.
Someone made a Guru Geek Out through an Apple Podcast review. Now, I hope this isn't some cheeky sort of self-promotion thing they're trying here. At the Apple Podcast thing here does say that they are from Great Britain, so it's all good. So, probably not.
Good one, I hope not. Yeah.
No, you wouldn't want to. You wouldn't hope so. So, all right, let's jump into it, Bryce. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD came out on Friday. Just as Bryce already mentioned before, thank you very much to Nintendo for providing us a copy of the game. And let's jump into it, Bryce. So this game is a very divisive game for us. We haven't played it since it came out in 2011 on the Wii. And we had some problems with the pacing, with the backtracking, with a lot of the sort of the busy work that's involved with the game. But now with the HD re-release, there are some fixes in there, which do include fire, shutting up, not talking as much, items not being described to you every single time you boot up the system, and the sort of improvements. There's a good list of them which do help with the overall experience of the game. But you putting about 20 hours into the game, I've I'm taking it nice and slow. My problem was the game mainly is that it's too repetitive, that it's a bit of a grind. So I want to, the way I'm looking at this sort of re-release is just take it nice and slow. I want to see if that does help things, because when the game first did come out on the Wii, I smashed like half of it out in the first week as well. And I remember getting the soccer training, and my friend Joseph, he said to me, "Hey man, what have you been up to this weekend?" And I just looked at him and like squinting because the sun hurt, and I'm just like, Zelda.
That's all I've been doing.
That's all I've been doing. I was at the beach house playing Zelda. So didn't quite do it like that this time. Played about 5 hours. I'm just up to the second dungeon, about to tackle that. But Bryce, you're very far in the game, 20 hours in. How are you finding it so far? What is your preferred way of controlling the game so far? Because there's different sort of options with buttons and that this time. How are you feeling so far?
Well, look, let's say 20 hours in the game. First off, I would argue that in a first-time playthrough, this would be more like 35 hours into the game. Mm-hmm. So, now I didn't remember most of the puzzles. It is easily one of the most forgettable Zelda games I've ever played.
Ooh. I forgot a couple of things as well, definitely, just from the first bit. Just like trying to put together like a key. I'm like, where the hell's the last one? Like,
that's
that
right.
Type of thing.
Yeah. So it is largely a forgettable in terms of like the puzzles and stuff like that. So 20 hours in is more than likely probably what I put about 35 hours in when I was, playing it for the first time.
Yep.
I would attribute like a fair bit of that is monotony cut down. I've used button controls almost exclusively, and that also cuts down the time a lot. And I mean like an absolute metric shit ton, because there's less fumbling, and sword play is faster because you don't have to adjust so much. And
it's your thumb instead of the whole arm.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. And it doesn't feel as monotonous to play as a result.
Yeah. See, I've just talking about on the controls, I made the decision to be like, I kind of felt like using the motion controls. I don't know why, but just like there aren't many experiences
that are quite like it.
But I like it in there. And like the game was built around those motion controls.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll play it like this. And for the sword, I think it's great with the Joy-Cons. There's a lot of recalibrating with the Y button. Being like, oh, I'm a bit sort of out of calibration. So I press the Y button, you're back to where you are. But there's been a few times where I have said, it's just not working for me. So I go to the options, swap the button controls. Mm-hmm. There's a few times riding the loft wing, just a tutorial at the start. It was not working. So changed the button controls for that. Yep. And there's also a moment in the first dungeon where you've got to put a shape into the door as the key. You got to turn it around, try and get it the right sort of shape to go in. I'm like, this is not
impossible.
Working.
Yeah.
But I changed the button controls, turn, bang.
Yep.
It's in. Yeah. I could, because it was not like I'm holding the Joy-Con and I'm like rotating it where I want it to go. It's just doing the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. So at least, and they weren't problems that I necessarily had on the Wii version. I don't remember those moments being all that bad. There were moments where, because in the Wii version, there's a swimming section where you've got to be very precise. Mm-hmm. And also you have to boost. And to boost, you need to shake the Wiimote, which is also your point of direction.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So moments like that, we can just be like, all right, if you do prefer motion controls, at least you can just go into the option, do your button controls, and maybe move back if that's what you're in the mood for.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm glad those options are there, but yeah, continue on, Bryce.
Look, Skyward Sword has the complete opposite problem that I talked about Mario Golf. In that Mario Golf with motion controls wasn't simple enough. And then it's more like with this release, the Joy-Cons are too simple for the motion controls. Like it's the complete opposite problem. With Mario Golf, like it's almost too deadly accurate, and it's kind of annoying. But with Skyward Sword, it's very clear that like Motion Plus and this had different ideas in mind when actually creating it. So them trying to recraft it, especially since it's like another port studio, it's not Nintendo directly handling it. I don't think they could capture the same thing. And unfortunately, like accuracy's huge in getting through Skyward Sword at a reasonable pace.
That's the whole game's based on, isn't it? Yeah.
It's kind of irritating. But that being said, like the button controls, they work fine. They're very serviceable. I think the problem is that like Skyward Sword rather in general is a Zelda title, right? So when you have that monotony, which is largely in due to the controls sometimes, like let's be real here, it does really dampen the experience. I've found that button controls have made it less painful. If there's one thing to note about Skyward Sword, it's repetitiveness. Like no matter what you do, everything's repetitive. So having that cut down to sort of more simplified button controls, which makes the experience less repetitive, makes it more bearable, and that's how I've managed to smash out most of the game over the course of a weekend. If I was playing with motion controls the entire time, see you in 4 weeks. No, seriously, like I'd get so over it. You know, when it comes to repetitiveness, like I've always talked about the dungeons being repetitive, or you know the areas being repetitive, because let's be real, like it's 100% down to it. I'm down to where I'm currently at, like light spoilers, but like where I'm at. I'm at the tail end of the game, and this is the third time you have to go and explore all 3 areas again. Third time throughout the entire game. And that in itself was always a problem, no matter what. So that sucks, but whatever. But what I've actually found is that the monotony wasn't just in that. Like I always centered in and focused as a central point as like these areas are monotonous, and so are these things that I have to do. They're extremely monotonous. But combat was also extremely monotonous, and I just don't think I realized it until now. Like, you know, everything's a puzzle, and we've both always said that about Skyward Sword. Everything is a puzzle. That's what the game is. It is a giant puzzle. You do combat, it's a puzzle. You do a puzzle, it's a puzzle. You do a dungeon, it's a puzzle.
Yep.
You I don't know, fucking hit a goddess cube, and then you know that getting up to the goddess cube is a puzzle, and then you go to the sky, and then finding it is a puzzle, and then you etc. But the combat being a puzzle is extremely repetitive.
Yeah, just like every single enemy you approach, you're like, all right, then you go for the slice, you sort of miss, go tink, then they put up their shield again, and you're like, all right, you're sort of working it out, and in like a normal Zelda game, you probably just run up to it and press A, and they're dead, and you move on.
And I mean, like, it's a problem, and something I'm really starting to center in, and something it's become one of the core reasons I hate desert levels. But I remember talking to you back in the day, and even sort of like through our discussions, Skyward Sword, you're like, oh, time stone mechanics are cool in the desert. The desert was cool. I'm like, yep. But you know what? I've found out why I hate the desert so much.
What's that?
It is the most slow and monotonous part of the entire game. Not just because of the time stones. The time stones are sort of fine, right? You know, there is puzzle aspects to them that make you think. But when you go to the mining facility, which is the first time you go to the desert, all the enemies are electric, which slows down combat, like, egregiously, because if you hit them with your sword, you get hurt. So, bokoblins have electro sticks, you have electro choo-choos, you have electro keys, you have electro everything. If you hit them with your sword, you get hurt, which means that you can't spam attacks. Even when you're on controller, you can't spam attacks because you just keep hitting their friggin' electric bits. You're like, God damn it, that's slow. Then the sand, that slows you down because it's quicksand. It wants you to be slow. So there's that. Then there's sprinting across the quicksand and then like just not making it and then drowning because the actual sections itself is specifically made to run you out of your entire stamina meter, and then you sink in the sand. That makes you go back to the start. That makes you slower. Everything about that is slower. Then you've got the mine carts. Like when you've got the time stone on the mine carts travel extremely fucking slow. Everything's really slow. And you have to do that desert section in multiple areas, I suppose, but still 3 times.
Yeah, and that's That's part of the game too. Obviously, just replaying it. I'm only 5 hours in, but just from what I remember, the whole sort of experience is just trying to slow you down as much as it possibly can. Whether it's getting to a dungeon and it's like, oh, you need to find 5 parts of the key, or you need to find these certain characters, or there's always something to do. And while I do appreciate that there is dungeon aspects outside of the dungeon, whether the whole area, this was the whole sort of thing leading up with their marketing before the Wii version came out. So, it's not just the dungeons. There's outside the dungeons. There's the bits in Skyloft. Like there's puzzles everywhere. And while that's great, it sort of does just really drag it down. It's just like, how long does this game go for?
And I mean, some of it's not even creative puzzle thinking. Some of it's kind of just there to annoy the shit out of you.
Yeah, there's a lot of fetch quests, a lot of stuff like that.
And with it being the way it is kind of just like I appreciate the puzzles, guys, and there are some well thought out puzzles and some real like the fucking like the sandship one, despite the fact like me just talking about shit on the desert, has a really cool puzzle, and that is that like you've got that one central time stone that affects everything on the ship, and so you've kind of got to look through grates to shoot the time stone or whatever, and you do all that, and that's cool and everything, but just like anything beyond that, it's just like, oh, look for this specific area or send this beetle into a hole to hit a button or something like that. Like, it's just irritating. And then, we're obviously live at the moment. We've got a couple people in chat. We got Luke there. He says, not enough openness. That is another problem in itself. The problem that I have, at least with it, is that, you've got all this monotony and you want something to sort of break up that monotony. But there is nothing. With Wind Waker, if you felt like it, you could go out in the open sea and stuff like that, and you would go to a different island, see what's on that island. You might find a cave. You might find something like that. They tried to replicate that with Skyward Sword, but put nothing in its world.
Yeah, and it's kind of ironic in a way because Skyward Sword, you got the sky.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's just like it's one of the most closed in. Oh, it is the most closed-in Zelda game almost ever made.
Yeah, that's right. You know, there's no freedom.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed is like the HD remaster with the graphics. They look a lot better.
Oh, fantastic!
It looks fantastic. The UI has been redone. Yep. Everything just really pops and looks awesome on a TV, even on the Switch's screen.
In comparison,
yeah. But I was one thing that it did sort of point out to me, because it is a Wii game. It's a 10-year-old game at this point, so that's fair enough. But just like running through the woods up the side, going up a bit of a hill, just like the backgrounds on the Wii, it not being HD, actually it kind of worked for the game just because of that painterly aesthetic, just how it all blurred into one another. Mm-hmm. Now in the HD version, like the models and everything look fantastic. Every now and again you see like a texture on a rock or something, you're like, yep, that's a Wii game.
Yeah, that's
just
right,
very obviously. Yeah. I think Link and Zelda and all the main characters look awesome.
Oh yeah, there's details that weren't there before too.
Yeah, but like running up the hill and like looking over the fence, it just reminded me of Bob on Battlefield from Mario 64. You know what I mean? It's obviously obviously with Skyloft and everything being floating. It's like that is just a part of the lore and everything. But it just feels like a little floating world, kind of like Bob on Battlefield and Mario 64 levels felt in that. And that's just sort of what the backgrounds not being as separated kind of reminds me of now. But, that's just what it is. That's not really a jab at the game, but that's just a funny little observation I had when I was playing it.
We're obviously going to have a bigger discussion about this, so we'll try to stop talking about the negative and go into the positive for a bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to sort of summarize that up is that I think, like, I think it's doing okay and keeping me engaged enough. But the repetitiveness is never going to go away. It's always been built into the game. I knew that going into it. I'm like, it's not going to change. It just might be faster and easy to get through. And I was right. It is. I'm getting through it quicker, which is good because that means less pain. To get to the point, get to the story, and that's where the positive point sits. Is the story is good in Skyward Sword, right? Mm-hmm. This is going to be as spoilerless as possible. But the story is good. Relationship between Link and Zelda is probably the most interactive it has been, like, throughout the years up until that point. Obviously, Breath of the Wild is sort of on that level now too, but before that, there wasn't the same level of interaction between Link and Zelda where they actually acted as a unit, as a camaraderie, as, the two powers against the greater power, in which is Ganon. Usually it's just like, find the princess at the end of the game, and Twilight Princess was guilty of this. Find the princess at the end of the game, then you do your camaraderie thing, and then that's it. But like in Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword, it is like, they've always been connected in some way and therefore have this camaraderie and friendship that is important and more story, like more driven to the story. And Skyward Sword was the initial jumping point for that kind of idea for Zelda games.
Yeah. And we saw like a massive focus on motion controls with the Wii release. Mm-hmm. And we saw a massive focus on narrative, and ultimately the focus on those two things has what has led to this game being so linear and being empty, I feel like.
Yeah. But I mean, they proved they can do it without it. And I think that is the issue, right? Like, I know the Wii was restricted in a lot of like ways and all that stuff, but I feel like, it wouldn't have been that hard to sort of just bridge the areas together in some sense, like for Hyrule.
Yeah, I mean, like Nintendo 64 and GameCube and all that did it. So.
Exactly, yeah. Which is why it's stupidly jarring. Like, it's not hard to have sort of small interconnected areas, and you could have a foundation of what would be like Kakariko Village or something in like the offset, but no, not really. It doesn't really happen. It is kind of just like, here is your areas, go to them, have fun, see you later, bye bye. And
come back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and
again,
and again, and then come back to the sacred grounds, and again, and again, and again, and again.
Yeah.
But like the actual story itself, it is good. There's never been anything objectively wrong with Skyward Sword's story. That's like the reason that I've wanted to play it again anyway, despite knowing how repetitive it was going to be. Like, that is what I appreciate about Skyward Sword. And I think that's the same to anybody that's played it and is picking it up again. I think that's what people hold dear to the game. I don't think anything else around the game is why. And I think that's systematically the problem.
Yeah.
Without any question,
It's definitely a page turner. It's what made me keep coming back to it to start off with. Like I said, I smashed it out in the first weekend back in 2011. Then I had like a week break. I can't remember why. I think I was up to a certain point where I'm just like, I can't be bothered. Like, it sort of just...
Yeah, you stopped.
It got to the point where I'm like, all right, that's enough. And I had to get myself back to it. And, I enjoyed it. The story is what drew me back to it. But I know a lot of people that are thinking about picking up this new HD version and said, I never actually finished that game. I never, I didn't get past this part. I never did this, or I never picked it up. Because in 2011, that was like a year where, the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 were picking up steam. The fact that the Wii wasn't a HD, that was really starting to show
big time.
Then. Yeah. I remember reviews being like, it's fun, but how the hell are we playing an SD game in 2011? Like, it was starting to show, and this was the swan song to
the Wii.
Mm-hmm. And it was a very important game. We've been looking forward to a one-to-one sword game for a long time, whether it was Star Wars or Zelda or whatever. And we finally got it from Nintendo, but just from, it wasn't the best Zelda game, but it is an excellent Zelda game.
It's hard. See, because I wouldn't even really call it excellent. I would call it.
Yeah, that was a bit over. I would say very good.
Good. Like, it's good in keeping you motivated enough, but the problem is like once you start, you're like, all right, this is cool. You get through the first 3 areas. You're like, all right, I'm on a good pace here. I'm enjoying my time. And then when the repetitive monotony or repetitiveness or whatever. It kicks in, that is when everything sort of starts to change, and you're kind of just surfing for that next bit in the story where you're like, all right, what am I doing? Where is this going? Where is this headed? Where is this taking me? And like, whenever it's brought up in conversation with me, like, should I play Skyward Sword or whatever, I'm kind of just like, once. Because you'll remember the story for what it's worth. Like, it's good, and it's a good foundation for, Zelda and its timeline, as most people will know it by now as the beginning of the Zelda timeline. It's a good foundation for all of that. But the issue is that you know, it's not something you're going to want to go back and play again for fun. It's not realistically.
Talking about replaying, in the original game, once you beat the game, you had access to hero mode afterwards.
Yes.
I think it was a bit of a miss that hero mode wasn't originally, or wasn't put into this one to start off with, because a lot of people are replaying it. So that would have been a good thing, because there's no way I'm going to go back, dive into it again for hero mode, you know?
I kind of wish they just put hero mode, like you could choose hero mode from the start.
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
Like, it's kind of like I'd like to play it in a more difficult setting to actually make me think about it more. But these control buttons, they let me coast through the game so easily that I just don't care. Not that that's a bad thing though. Like, you know, as we were talking about the controls earlier, like it's good to have that alternate method, because the motion controls, they're not up to par realistically. There's too much accuracy needed in Skyward Sword that the Joy-Cons don't give. It's a real weird problem, isn't it? It's like, you know, in Mario Golf, it's too accurate. It's far too accurate. Don't know why the fuck it's so accurate. It is like criminally accurate in Mario Golf. But for some reason in Skyward Sword, where it's needed most, it is not accurate at all.
No, the sword stuff is pretty good.
Yeah, until you have to reset and reset and reset and reset all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't just pick up where you are.
What I have trouble with is with the bombs. Throwing them is fine, but when you got to bowl them, like you're sitting in your chair, then you've got to put your like arm down to the ground as like you're going to do like a bowling motion.
Yeah.
It's like, so I'm sitting on my couch and I've got my legs obviously where they are, and I've got my just hands in my lap. So I bowl the bomb, so I'm like, all right. So I fucking like lean off the couch. You gotta like throw at the TV. I'm like, all right, do you think about this? I'm not standing up.
No.
I'm not playing Wii Sports.
I'm so happy that you can just bomb bowl with buttons now. I miss that is one of the things in Skyward Sword where I'm just like, yes, that was a fantastic idea. Do that again. That they just never did again. It was bomb bowling.
Bomb bowling, yeah.
Because you could literally just bowl it in the direction and it would like be accurate as shit and it would just be good, right? You know, that's how it always was. And instead of like jankily throwing it, having indicator markers and stuff like that in Skyward Sword to see the arc and where it's sort of going is very handy, because you need it with the motion controls. But like with bomb bowling, it didn't even really matter. As long as you didn't have to like friggin' hoops it. Like you could just roll the bomb and it would go farther than you could ever toss it overhead. So you just roll the bomb and it would eventually hit its target before it blows up, surely. Like, you know, it is sort of how it is. Yeah, I mean, you know, at this current point in time, we obviously got a bigger discussion coming up in a few weeks' time. Coming from two people who have played the absolute fuck out of it when we were young, compared to somebody who's only just first playing it now.
Yeah, so we'll have a spoiler cast in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously, myself and Bryce and Ash Wallace, who hasn't played it on the Wii, and he's now playing it for the first time. So this will be his first time sort of jumping into it.
Yeah, first time through.
Whereas for us, we've been marinating on our...
on our saltiness.
Our saltiness for God knows that long.
We're like beef jerky at this point, just fucking smoked out and salted.
Give me a chew of that finger, Bryce. Ooh, that's a good finger you got there, mate.
But yeah, so I mean, at this current point in time, I guess, you know, if you're wondering if you should pick up Skyward Sword, if you are the type of person who's already played it and you've got what you wanted out of it through the story, and you're kind of like, should I be purchasing this again because I don't think I'll make it through? Probably not. Honestly, like, you know, we all know that, you know, it's more expensive than the Wii one. So if you've already got the Wii one kicking around, it's not going to do much different for you.
I don't know, like, I would say if you want to replay it, if you're willing to put 30 hours plus into a game, I think this one will take away a lot of what makes the Wii one that just a little bit more of a grind. Whether it is just like the stuff they put into it or just the nicer graphics, the fact that it's on a modern day console.
I don't know, man. I think they've taken out the speedrunning glitches in the HD version. So if you really want to get past like all the monotonous crap, you probably could do it faster in the Wii version these days. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, no, but I don't know.
If you want to sit there for the full journey, it might be worth the cost price. But if you're honestly like, if you remember your time with Skyward Sword and you're kind of like, Jesus Christ, that was a game to get through, you're probably not going to enjoy it. That is just the bare minimum
yeah.
truth. But like, you know, if it is your first time playing Skyward Sword, I recommend it. There is a reason it's being re-released. You know, it is one of Zelda's probably best stories. Probably like maybe not in my own personal opinion about some things, but you know, the relationship between Zelda and Link and sort of how that all folds together and the background lore that it sets is great.
It is, yes.
It's fantastic, and it does sort of set the precedent for the rest of the series. And knowing that information is good, and I think digesting it through its original medium, whatever, is the best way to do it, no matter what. And then you've got like a manga that comes before Skyward Sword, technically, which you can read after the fact, which, you know, playing the actual game helps before getting that context.
Yeah, it's in a horror Historia.
It is.
If anyone's got that laying around.
Yeah. And it's a good little manga too. But you're better off playing Skyward Sword first if you don't want to be spoiled of just about everything in Skyward Sword before reading that little tidbit of manga.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely good for first time players because you're not going to experience the same amount of monotony that was in the original Wii version. If you have positive memories of Skyward Sword, you'll find it fine.
Oh yeah.
100%. But yeah, it is sort of just the crowd that sort of sits on the edge of like, I don't know if I could play through this again.
Yeah, and like the reason we are so hard on it is because it is a Legend of Zelda game.
Absolutely, yeah.
We are, you know, we've got expectations for that series, and realistically, if it was, this is like a very good game compared to say other companies or whatever making similar games.
Yeah,
it is still an excellent game. It's just it does definitely have its problems, and I know for me, if you are interested in playing this, I would say get this version, pay the extra. Don't try and cheap out on the Wii version. Go back to your old copy or get a second-hand version or whatever. I would say this is worth it just from aesthetically, mechanically, just ease of use. Obviously, with the Switch now, you can play it handheld mode. This is the first sort of traditional 3D Zelda game we've had in the palm of our hand on the Switch, apart from Link's Awakening and Breath of the Wild. They're obviously very different games to this one.
Yep. So
it is nice having your traditional dungeons and puzzles and stuff in our hands. So yeah, that's a nice little bonus as well.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it is interesting to see these three different flavors of Zelda on one console. I think that is like the takeaway from this, is that, you know, you get a top-down 2D sort of set game, you get a 3D traditional 3D Zelda, and then you get a new Zelda experience, and we've all got that across the same console, and it's nice, to be sure. I just feel like Skyward Sword here is here more or less for a reason, not for its preservation. Because obviously, you know, if anybody's kept up with trailers of Breath of the Wild 2, there seems to be something there that could be importance that comes from Skyward Sword, and you know, Skyward Sword is a decade old now. It is, yeah, kind of a hard game to replicate without, you know. Then they said they're never going to do it with buttons. They're like, oh, button controls just wouldn't work for this game. They said that.
It did. It does.
It does. It actually does. They made it work for this game.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's the thing to take away from it. Yeah. You can play it with buttons, guys. It makes it quicker. Trust me. Fucking Jesus Christ, does it make it quicker. Fighting moblins has never been easier. I can just fucking get stuck behind their ass and constantly slash. Seriously.
Yeah, you're showing me your boss battle before, and you're just like, hey. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's right. Well, when moblins first come into play, they got their shield, and you're going to like cut up their shield, and I'm kind of just like, all right, and then they knock me over, but then they walk over the top of my body, so I get stuck between their shield and their ass. And I can just constantly swipe and kill them that way. Like at the loss of a heart, I don't have to go through the annoying process of like, oh shit, better back step, forward, back, and forward, back, and forward, and back, and just, I could just sit behind their ass and go.
Just Link's doing like a bit of a dance, like a ballroom dance. Hi yeah.
Yeah, and then you got the one Link in the back that's like on cocaine and
ooh. Yeah, that's very much a good description of button controls.
Button controls, yeah.
Link has taken meth.
Link has taken meth, and now he swipes really fast. Watch out for him on his Tinder profile.
Yeah.
Swipe right, baby.
Swipe right. Yeah, that's a good thing about the motion controls. You're doing it, it's like, no, swipe left. No. Oh, yes. Swipe right.
Jesus.
So yeah, absolutely great game. Actually, before we I keep on saying great game.
Here's a great game. It's good game. It's hard.
I'm very much like between a 7 and an 8. If I had to do like a numbered score,
7.
I feel like I'll do if I'm it's some days I'll say a 7, some days I'll say 8. At the moment I'll say 7 because that is typically what I feel.
To me, I think it's 6.5 to 7. Honestly, great Zelda experience for one reason, and then the rest of them, it's kind of tough to
It's hard.
stand up for the argument. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I've still got a lot to go for my current playthrough of the HD version. Who knows?
I'll be done tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll be done tomorrow. You freaking crazy man.
I can guarantee it. I'll be done tomorrow.
Oh God. Yeah, when you told me like, I played 9 hours, so I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, because here's the thing: is like you said earlier, you're like, I'll just take it by little nibbles. Oh yes,
yes. Oh,
what a delicious little slice of Skyward Sword.
What a delight.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. No, it doesn't fucking work like that. If you want to get through it, you're just going to have to fucking get through it because you'll get through those first set of dungeons and then you're like, I've got to do that again. Fuck.
That's my exact reason though. You do that all in the same day.
Yes.
You do like the exact same things in the same day.
You run a Nintendo podcast, my friend. You want to do a spoiler cast on this. You're not going to get it done in the time allotted. Like that's the problem. And that's the situation I've got to look at it as too, is just like if I leave this to sit and be like, all right, I've done my 3 dungeons for today. I'm going to just cover off later. And then I play something I enjoy more, then I'm not going to want to go back to it.
To be fair,
I've not touched Final Fantasy since I got the game. Literally.
Bryce, you're right, mate. Where's your pulse?
I know.
Oh my God.
Where the fuck is
there's
my
no pulse.
There's no pulse.
Skyward Sword has killed Bryce.
He's killed me. Because I know if I stop and I play something else now, I'm going to give up. Because I'm starting to feel that creep in on me where I'm like, God damn it. Just get through it. You can get through it. Still haven't been to the flooded forest yet. When that happens, that'll be the point where I'm going to be like, Argh! Actually, no, Elden Volcano. Never mind.
Just all of it.
Losing your items. Losing your items.
Well, stop doing spoilers around here, Bryce.
Losing your items.
Bryce.
That's not a spoiler. You're just losing your items. They don't know what I'm talking about. You just lose your items.
Where are they?
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, true. And then I would count that as spoilers, but I'm sorry if you guys do as well.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Send a message to Bryce saying...
Yeah, if you're very angry about getting spoiled about your items, which I did not even discuss what items you lost. You just lost items.
Guys, regardless of you're angry, just send him an angry message anyway.
Oh,
just
fuck off.
All right. So, get amongst Skyward Sword. If you don't want it, that's fine too. Yep. Yeah, so good. I was thinking of this the other day. I've been meaning to check. I wonder if they still have Skyward Sword on the Wii Virtual Console on Wii U, or if they removed it. Because they are cheeky like that.
I can't imagine they would have.
Because they do it for Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and Pikmin 3. They removed them from the Wii U eShop when they brought out deluxe versions.
Right.
Which is bullshit. So if you bought Pikmin 3 on Wii U, and you're like, oh yeah, I haven't downloaded it because I've got 32 gigs of a hard drive, which is nothing. You can't download it even if you bought it. They removed it.
No, surely not.
Go and check, my friend.
You should just be able to go to your read-down, because I don't think they can legally do that.
Surely not.
I don't think they can. I think you would just be able to go back to your previously purchased and then hit the download button again. Because you can do that with phones and apps.
No,
right?
I certainly hope so. Because
you want to fucking hope so, because that's literally stealing.
That's just like blocking you off from Anyway.
Yeah.
Those cheeky bastards.
Cheeky bastards.
Cheeky bastards.
Oh, cheeky bastard.
All right, let's get into some news, Bryce. There was quite an exciting announcement by another company this week.
We've talked for 40 minutes already. Fuck. All right, yeah.
Is that all?
Hi guys, check out my new Steam Deck.
My body is still.
Bryce, I would check out your Steam Deck, but we can't get it here in Australia.
Yeah, no, it's fucked.
Yeah, it's a bit mean of them. So, Valve, they announced the other day that they are bringing out a brand new product called the Steam Deck. It is pretty much a Switch, but no removable Joy-Cons. It's a PC inside of a kind of a handheld Switch-like form factor. It's got 2 analog sticks, a D-pad, Bryce. Isn't that revolutionary?
Oh my god. God.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So, just reading from the Steam website, we've partnered with AMD to create Steam Deck's custom APU optimized for handheld gaming. It's a Zen 2 plus RDNA 2 powerhouse, delivering more than enough performance to run the latest AAA games in a very power-efficient envelope. Ooh. And you'll be able to play pretty much all of your Steam games on this thing. You'll be running a custom Steam OS that runs on Linux. So
that's correct.
Very cool. It comes in 3 sort of versions, all with the same power, pretty much.
Yes.
But one comes with 64 gigabytes of eMMC memory. So that's a little bit of a slower hard drive.
Yes, it is. That's correct.
Then another one with 256 gigabytes of NVMe SSD, and the other one with 512 gigabytes of NVMe SSD. God,
that's right. NVMe. Yeah.
And a lot of letters there, Bryce.
NVMe.
A lot of letters there. So,
NVMe.
if for those that haven't seen it, it does look like a big fat Game Gear Switch.
I'm excited for the prospects of this thing.
I am too. I think it's exciting because I just love handheld gaming. Nintendo's the only one who's currently doing it in a real fashion. Xbox are doing it through sort of streaming, through to mobile phones and stuff. That is an option if you want to get a controller for your phone, do it that way. But there's no like real just onboard way of playing your games without an internet connection. So Switch has been the only one for the last 4 years after PlayStation sort of sent the PlayStation Vita out to die. But what's really exciting about this is that there's a new competitor coming in, Valve. I don't think they're going to...
They're not going to shit Nintendo out the water.
No, I don't think they're going to even come close. This is not your average consumer device. There's no,
but it is the most versatile device that's going to be available.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely versatile. It has all the sort of upsides that PC gaming has, and that massive library of Steam games supposedly
it's not even
should
just
all
that.
work.
Yeah, it's not even just that.
Yeah,
like the thing is like, okay, so Steam products, they're not too bad, right? You know, they don't come out very often. Steam PCs didn't do too well. The Steam controller, it's kind of liked by some depending on what games it's being used for. But the Steam Link, that thing is a fucking bargain. Like you could pick a Steam Link up for $30 to $50 on sale. And that is like one of the best pieces of technology, in my opinion, that you could have connected to your TV for price cost, honestly. Because having access to your PC games from any room is brilliant. I really should have picked up more when they were still in circulation because I would have one on every TV. Like, no shit. Anyway, regardless of that, I'm kind of hoping that they do the same thing with this and they sort of just hit it out the ballpark. Because what they're promising is like, when they announced it, they're just like, we want it to be a PC. And you're like, that's good news. And they're like, you can ditch Steam OS and you can put Windows on it. And then through Windows, you know what that means. You can do lots of things with it. You can put Steam on there like you normally would.
You can check your emails.
You can check your emails.
Do your taxes.
You can fucking go on Chrome. But no, like not even just that, but like, you got to think of Epic Games storefront. Then you think of like GOG and, then you've got non-DRM games like League of Legends and stuff like that. And then Game Pass as well. PlayStation Studios have games going up on Steam. This is going to be a really good way to play portable Xbox and portable PlayStation games as time goes on. It's going to be really good for that.
It is. I'm looking forward to it for Game Pass stuff.
I want to get this thing and I want to take it out of the box and I don't even want to boot it up. I want to plug it into the computer and I want to wipe it and put Windows on it immediately.
Yeah, so do I.
Like, no shit. Because as SteamOS is fine, right? It's not bad. It works fine. Like they use an emulated version for Steam Link. It's all right. It's fine. But the amount of modulability you have with this thing is going to just completely like you think of the gaming market in general. And you think of like Nintendo's portion, Xbox's portion, Microsoft's portion, PC gaming portion in handheld mode is going to be fucking like massive, because obviously there's only two people in the handheld market at the moment. That'd be Nintendo and PC. Who's going to have the more games? Definitely the PC.
Yeah.
So it is going to like completely like destroy that pie graph, like down to an absolute nutcase. The only thing is that it has to be good. If it is not good, then it objectively fails, and there's no point, and that sucks.
Yeah. What I'm really interested in it mainly about is just like, say if PlayStation said we're making a new portable, they would have to support that with their studios. They would have to support that with third party content, and like they struggled with the Vita, and there's no way they're going to take resources away from, say, Naughty Dog, Insomniac to be like, make this portable game. But with Steam and the PC ecosystem, just like saying it all works here, we've already got a back catalogue. Developers are already putting games on top of the line PCs that'll work on this as well. That just completely eliminates that problem. And even say with Switch, where developers have to make games for the Switch, which could be a pro and a con depending on what the game is. Just those games will automatically come to this thing, whether it is whether it is a port or whatever.
And I mean, just think about it, right? You know, like Steam has always sort of has always sort of placated towards PlayStation peripherals and stuff like that working on Steam, right? So what are the chances that, like, you know, when you're coming into this market, Microsoft have already got their platform on PC. Like, you know, the PC is their platform. They fucking Microsoft Windows, like, it is theirs. What if, like, PlayStation started working with Steam? Then all of a sudden, like, because it's obvious PlayStation wants to break into the market. So all of a sudden you've got official releases on Steam. And I mean, you kind of already do. You've got stuff like Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff like that. Horizon Zero Dawn portable. Anybody?
Yeah, please.
That'd be good. It'd be literally a direct competitor to Breath of the Wild in its own, like, prospect. But, like, you know, just from that thought process of, like, having a all-encompassing PC, like, sort of right there in your hands that you can do a hell of a lot with. Like, you think of, you know, there's devices like it that have been done before, but they're not as geared. I mean, they are, because they've got sort of, you know, D-pads on them and stuff like that, but then nothing that is as big as supported as the Steam brand. So this is huge.
Yeah, there was an Alienware one a couple of years ago. It was like a lot more expensive and not as capable as far as like the power went.
No.
But I think what is most exciting about this, it's not just the Steam Deck. It's the fact that Gabe Newell in an interview he did with IGN, he described this as a new category of product. Yeah. So other companies will be able to make this using similar parts, using Steam. And it's gonna be like a brand new category of, say, a gaming laptop, a gaming tower. Cool. And this will be going up against Nintendo. Not this year, not next year, maybe not even the year after necessarily, but this will be a way into the handheld market where developers will be able to put their games on there with no work at all.
Could you imagine a sleek Razer product?
Oh. Yeah, exactly. And
holy fuck.
I'm just a huge fan of handheld gaming, and whether it's Nintendo or PlayStation, or if Xbox wanted to give it a go, Sega back in the day, I just love holding the game in my hand, being able to take it where I want to, snuggle in bed on the couch, headphones on. It's just a really intimate experience, and having the option for this is just awesome. I went to go and pre-order it, and that's when I was sadly met with the screen that it's only US and UK.
Yeah.
Able to pre-order. I was like, no!
That's so fucked.
And so the news coming out more recently is that if you say you pre-order now, you won't be getting it until the end of next year, pretty much. So there's a big backlog of these. They're not necessarily a massive mass market item like the Switch is. The Switch got announced and it came out in 3 months, you know, and that's a more price-friendly option to families and stuff. Obviously with the Nintendo games on it as well, that's a big push for that. But this is very much the type of consumer that wants more from that type of device.
Yeah.
which I think I am, to be honest.
They could have not timed it like more perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
with
at all.
with the OLED Switch being like, oh, we wanted more out of this. And it's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Steam's making it.
So many people are fucking buying into it, like content creators and stuff like that. They're all fucking like latching onto this thing like mad, and that's a good thing. And like I want this like you said, this category of product to evolve, and I want to see like this sort of make the leap, make the jump, and then sort of work with that in mind, because at the end of the day, like nothing would satisfy me more than having this portable PC where I have access to a Steam library and I can sort of, just fish around with whatever the hell I've got. I've got over a couple hundred games in my Steam library I could be playing. That's a lot of games.
And like looking at this form factor, it looks chunky. You expect that from what it's got inside of it. That's fine.
What was it? 9 times the power of I think they actually did equate it to the power. Like, how there was always that, it's like with the Switch, they were like, it's as powerful as a Xbox One or PS4 or whatever. Yeah. And it never really was. We know it wasn't.
No.
This thing actually, like with the chipset it's got in it, it definitely is.
Yeah, so
definitely is as powerful.
It's got like the similar chipset to the Xbox Series S. And like, I think overall, if you just want an idea of how powerful it is, it's basically the power of a PlayStation 4.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep.
Which is awesome in this form factor.
Yeah.
And just for people that haven't seen it, the analog sticks are both at the top, similar to the Wii U gamepad. And also the D-pad is right next to the analog stick to the left of it, and the buttons are right next to the right analog stick as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, what the hell is this? It looks stupid. It's dumb. It's a dumb placement. But as soon as I saw it, I'm like, that is really smart. Because say on my 3DS or Switch, the D-pad being underneath, if it's not in the grip, I can't use the D-pad because it's in the wrong spot. You look at your thumb where you move it left and right. But once you're moving it down, that is when you get hand cramp.
Mm-hmm.
So having the D-pad right next to the analog stick, it looks dumb. We haven't seen it on a normal controller before.
Yeah.
The Switch doesn't do it.
But it's a smart placement, realistically.
I think it's a smart placement. Until we can actually use it, I can't say that I like it.
Like as somebody that plays MMORPGs, that is a very good placement. It is extremely good placement.
Yeah.
And then the trackpads, like...
Yes, of course. We haven't mentioned that yet.
Like, holy shit, the amount of buttons on this thing, man. Just thinking about it. Like, they've got dual mouse trackpads. And then they've got 4 back buttons like you would on an Xbox Elite controller.
Yes, I love that. And
that's massive.
And the actual shape of it, it's got the hand grooves. You can compare that to the Wii U gamepad as well. It's got the grooves for your hand. And I actually put my Switch in a grip that makes it that shape.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that it's just there as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited about this when I can eventually get one. I feel like when Australia gets the opportunity to get it, once the chip shortages and all of that type of thing affecting.
I'm gonna let it blow over, but like it has killed my drive for an OLED Switch. It has. Like I was gonna get one next year. Now I just think I'll hold out. I'm not about to jump the gun and be like, all right, I'm on it. Here's the OLED Switch. I'll fucking just save until I hear more about this thing. Not that like, I've like if my Switch breaks and I'm like, well, fuck. Like I have to get a new Switch. I've got no choice in that matter. Yeah. But I will ride my Switch until it does. Like
yeah. Well, I had the same sort of thought because I'm like, all right, I want this thing. This is kind of not 100% made for me, but I'm like, I really want this thing. Like, yeah. I'll start playing on Steam. Like I will. This is what gets me interested in PC gaming. Mm-hmm. Like if I...
you just need to start PC gaming.
Tell you what. Tell your traditional PC gaming to... No, go away.
Well, go fucking... At least like boot up that PlayStation 5 and, install the critically acclaimed RPG Final Fantasy 14.
You're just trying to get me into that game, are you, Bryce?
Do that, and then you'll understand. You'll be like, these controller controls are nice, but you know what? I would like more buttons. And then you'll be like, oh yes, a keyboard and mouse. That sounds like a good idea, actually.
I've got nothing against a keyboard and mouse, Bryce. Nothing against a keyboard and mouse. Tell you what, I actually prefer to play Halo that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
because I don't know,
aiming's better.
Yeah. But anyway, regardless, I was like, when I was looking at this to pre-order it. It's about $800 and something for like the biggest hard drive version. I'm like, oh, so it's $800 something. I'm like, oh, all right, I'll get rid of my OLED pre-order.
Yeah.
And I'll get this.
Yeah.
But since that didn't happen, I'm like, all right, I guess
Guess you're not now.
guess I'm still wasting that money.
Yeah. It sucks because, like, you know, like, it's revolutionary in my opinion. Like, I don't think there's any way to go about it.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like, you know, Nintendo have done the formula and they've perfected it. Like, the Switch is a beautiful piece of hardware. I know it's like the most powerful thing on the market, and the OLED could be better, but like in terms of form factor and what you get out of the Switch, it's very good. And it's very clear that it is a great way to sort of move forward with other sources of gaming, and this is a big step for PC in so many ways. It is the most accessible platform for indie games, so people always put indie titles in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of DRM free games that work really well on there. Free to play games work really well on there, and are usually developed for PC first, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, with all the access to all the different stores you've got, and the approaching PlayStation to PC market, and Game Pass being available on PC, this is a fucking very valuable piece of technology, realistically.
Yeah. Although, like, I'll be using it in very similar ways to the Switch, I think a lot of people are like, oh, what does this mean for Nintendo? And I don't think it means...
Doesn't really mean anything.
Like I said earlier, it doesn't mean a whole lot until there's more of these products coming on and they're sort of more targeting the family audience that Nintendo is. But remember, like, you know, this thing doesn't have removable Joy-Cons and that. And while I know myself, you, Bryce, and maybe a lot of you guys who listen to the show don't take off the Joy-Cons and use them in desktop mode or whatever, a lot of people do. And that's a lot of the magic of the Switch, is being able to turn any area into like a multiplayer gaming
That's
area,
right, yeah.
which is a lot of fun. Just the Nintendo games themselves, they won't be on this unless you want to, you know, emulate a lot of stuff on there, which is an option. But it's just, you know, as great as PC gaming is, it will never be as straightforward as what Nintendo puts forward, which is just a very limited OS where you just select your game and jump straight into it. But I don't see it being that straightforward on Steam. But regardless, very excited for this product.
Yep.
Doesn't seem like we're going to be getting it.
Nah, not for a long time. When it comes to like sales and stuff like that, I think what we've just discussed is probably the most it's going to affect is people that are just like, oh, yeah, the OLED's not much of an upgrade, but I've had my launch Switch for a while, sort of thing. But now they're seeing this and they're just like, I can hold out. I can replace my Switch later. Yeah, I think that is what it is, right? So. Yeah, I think you know, just sort of just a wait and see and just see how things go.
It's just an exciting sort of prospect of how other companies can get into this space.
Yeah,
like for example, if PlayStation they wanted to get back in this space, they could.
I kind of don't want them to.
Yeah, well, I don't think they will. But say they could make like a portable PlayStation 4. Be like, all right, we're not going to be like supporting this thing necessarily, but
it's there.
The whole library of the last 7 years will be supported on this device. Have fun. You know what I mean? That is
yeah, but then you'd have to make it near digital only.
Yeah, unless you put it's not the PSP again. Put in the big Blu-ray disc,
guys. Just trust us. You have to snap your discs and insert them like toast to transfer the data.
Yeah,
you just have to do it. Sorry, you just have to snap the disc. That's right. And look, I'll get little Timmy to demonstrate. He takes like a nice pristine copy of Persona 5 or something.
It's my favourite game. No, don't snap it.
It's like, snap it, Jimmy. Snap it, Jimmy. Snap it. We need to demonstrate to our customers how you insert this thing like a toaster. Snap it. Snap it. Snap it, Jimmy. There you go. Now insert it like a toaster.
It doesn't work.
It's like, it starts like overheating. It's like, it's like, ting, and just like shoots out across. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the PlayStation Portable.
Portable games.
Yeah, portable. All right, Bryce, let's move on. So, our good friend Reggie Fils-Aime has announced a brand new book.
Fils-Aime.
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 Fils-Aime. So, from Nintendo Enthusiast, I'll read the article so I don't miss any bits about his new book. Bryce, just off the bat, are you keen to read a book from Reggie?
I think it'd be interesting hearing the story, so I might audiobook it. but I'm not about to.
Oh, so I would love him to be the voice for the audio book as well.
You know
That'd
what? I
be
think
great.
he'd do it too. I think he'd do it.
He's got time. He's retired.
Yeah, when he's not filling in for GameStop's mess that the internet literally fixed.
He's not anymore. He's removed himself from that role,
Oh yeah, I know he did. Yeah.
so he's all good.
Yeah, that's right. It didn't matter because the internet fixed GameStop's problem anyway. By driving up their stocks by like literally 10 times what they're worth.
Yeah.
Sorry, more than that. 100 times what they were worth at one point. $4 to 400. Jesus Christ.
I hope they hope people sold those stocks while they could.
I think they did.
Yeah.
Most of them anyway. Yeah.
So the article reads, former Nintendo of America president and COO Reggie Fils-Aimé has written a book that is one part inspiring autobiography, one part leadership lessons to help readers ascend to the top of the business world, disrupting the game from the Bronx to the top of Nintendo. That is the name of the book. There are listings for it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble through Amazon. As the book retail listing explains, you will learn from Reggie how to leverage just disruptive thinking to pinpoint the life choices that will make you truly happy, conquer negative perceptions from those who underestimate or outright dismiss you, and master the grit, perseverance, and resilience it takes to dominate in the business world and reach your professional dreams. To get even more specific about the contents of the book, Reggie will share his perspective on the following areas in disrupting the game from the Bronx to the top of Nintendo. So the dot points are about the challenges Reggie faced throughout his life and career, from his humble childhood as the son of immigrants to become one of the most powerful names in the history of the gaming industry. What it takes to reach the top of your own industry, including being brave enough to stand up for your ideas, while also being open to alternative paths to success. How to create a vibrant and believable visions for your team and company. How to maintain a relentless curiosity and know when to ask questions to shatter the status quo. So yeah, just I'm really interested in this. I haven't read the Iwata book yet, which I've been meaning to. What actually happened with that, I pre-ordered it on Amazon like early in the year. I'm like, I pre-ordered it, cool, can't wait to get it in the post. It never rocked up. I'm like, what the fuck? I never go on my Amazon account because why would I? So I go on there and it says, we're still waiting for payment. I'm like, oh, that's what Amazon does. It doesn't pay straight away. It pays when it ships or just before it ships, which I find really annoying. I just want to pay for it and just make sure it's okay, and then I'll get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to be getting that. I'm just going to download it on my iPad. I reckon both of these books, get the digital copies, read through them. I'm not much of a book reader. I'm really interested in reading these, but I've really got to force myself to read.
Oh shit, yeah.
I want to read more, and I think like these topics I'm super interested in. Hopefully, get me moving the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this book. There's no sort of release date or anything just yet, I believe. I do expect it to be this year. So if you're interested in more of the life story of Reggie, this will be there for you.
Yes.
And yes, Reggie hopefully will be doing the the voice so Bryce can listen to it while he's...
Audiobooks are fun, man.
Yeah. No, they are. They are.
It's like listening to a podcast, but it's a book.
Yeah, book. A 20-hour podcast. This is an interesting sort of rumor that got debunked by Nintendo themselves. So also from Nintendo Life, Nintendo denies claims it'll make increased profits with Switch OLED. No plans for other model. So where this basically come from is Bloomberg came out and said, hey, it's only 10 extra bucks for Nintendo to include the changes to the OLED model. So they'll be making an extra $40 US on top of what they're already making. And Nintendo came out.
They came out cannons firing.
Yeah, they're like, no, get fucked. Because if I was Nintendo, just like, all right, Bloomberg, you're saying a lot of shit. And over the year, it has been proved they're talking a lot of shit.
Yeah.
A very reputable website, but they're talking a lot of shit when it comes to Nintendo. So Let's read the article for a bit more context. So Nintendo has issued a statement regarding claims that it's set to make an increased profit with the Switch OLED compared to the standard model, describing them as incorrect. The post addressed to investors and customers on social media this morning references a Bloomberg report which claimed that the Switch OLED's manufacturing costs come in at around $10 per unit, meaning Nintendo is improving profit margins. Here's Nintendo's full message. A news report on July 15th, 2021 claimed that the profit margin of Nintendo's Switch OLED model would increase compared to the Nintendo Switch. To ensure correct understanding among our investors and customers, we want to make it clear that the claim is incorrect. We also want to clarify that we just announced the Nintendo Switch OLED model, which will launch on October 8th, 2021, and have no plans for launching any other model at this time. So, god damn it, Bloomberg. Look, at the end of the day, we don't know if they're lying or not. They could be like, oh, no, we're not making that much more money. It's like, we are making that much more money. So good.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, it's just interesting to point out, just in case, I know people out there are a bit grumpy, because with the price increase in the US of $50 and about $80 in Australia, that is a big increase.
Yeah, that's right.
So, just that news out there that they are just increasing it because, we have you by the balls. Which, they do.
They always have.
They always have, If they do something egregious, we're not going to buy it. They've sort of brought out a lot of games.
If they're like, the Switch OLED only has an OLED screen, we're charging an extra $150, we'd be like, all right, shove it up your ass.
Yeah.
See you later. Yeah. But this is believable.
Yeah, it's believable enough. Yeah, but like I said, we'll never know. So anyway, doesn't matter too much. Just don't get too angry because that report wasn't necessarily correct.
As somebody that just bought a big OLED TV when I could have bought any other like 4K standard LCD, I can definitely tell you, yeah, the screens are definitely more expensive, 100%. It's understandable that a screen like this would cost a little bit more money, and if that's it, that's fine. Standard 4K TV, if I went and bought one of them, would have cost maybe a third of the cost that I would have paid for it. Yeah,
and at the end of the day, it's worth the money if you're into that display. If you're into like a better display for your TV, especially for your TV, it's like the main.
I would love to have
for the house.
I would love to have an OLED screen Switch, but I just can't justify it when I know that there's better things coming. That is the sort of end all and be all.
Yeah, like you're looking at getting a PS5 very soon. There's this Steam Deck, which we won't be getting, but would like to. We'll set some money aside for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's going to play the same game.
Plenty of reasons to, save your money.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
Oh, boy.
That was announced.
We have way too much to talk about, Jesus.
We do.
Damn, I forgot about this too. Wow. All right. Yep.
So yeah,
I forgot about it.
I'm gonna let you sort of run off with this one, Bryce. So I remember I saw the news. Wow, that was cool. When you messaged me saying what all the competitive Smash players are talking about the mechanics from their pulled across from their other games they've made. And I really don't know that much about what this developer's done. Right. But
yep.
You do. So let me know.
They made a semi sort of Smash clone quite a while ago, like an indie-ish sort of thing called Slap City.
Mm-hmm.
And that featured a lot of things that Melee players like, whether it be like wave dashing or shining or whatever, like bunch of glitch mechanics from Melee that people praise to this day as like the best thing that's ever happened to fighting games. Now in Slap City, it was very popular among Melee players for that very reason. It had a lot of mechanics from Melee. Turns out that this I'm going to call it a thing because Cartoon Network tried to do their own version and it was just absolutely shite. And then this one, it's looking a little bit better than that, but at the same time, is it though? In that it's made by the guys who made Slap City, and therefore they are bringing over a lot of the mechanics of what was in Slap City, which means wave dashing will be there and stuff like that. Now, kind of a weird roster to show off immediately. So they didn't really show off any of the main characters like they would in Smash Brothers, where the whole central point is like, look, it's Super Smash Brothers. So that must mean that Mario's here. Wow. You know, like whatever. There's a lot of characters that sort of float through in the initial launch trailer. We've actually currently got it playing right now, so it's actually good for a reminder. But like stuff like Powdered Toast Man. Ever heard of Powdered Toast Man before?
I don't know if I have. And I love Ren and Stimpy, but I'm like,
Powdered Toast
who
Man.
the hell's Powdered Toast Man?
It's Powdered Toast Man. Yeah.
I can't say I recognise him at all.
I do. I remember Powdered Toast Man.
I'm a fake
quite well.
Ren and Stimpy fan, obviously.
But they never announced Ren and Stimpy. People just picked them out from the box art.
Yeah.
So they've like left all their big hitters for later reveal. So that includes, I actually think that does include SpongeBob as well. Possibly Korra, Ren and Stimpy, etc., right? And I'm sure this will be a fine game for what it's worth. It is just a Smash clone with a lot of the melee mechanics sitting around. Because it is more of an officially licensed game, and as such has more of a, I guess, foot forward in the sense that it's made by something that it's made by a company that melee players have actually enjoyed their work. It'll probably get a bit more of a foothold, but it's just so fucking random. It is so out of nowhere.
Yeah, because like, was it last year or the year before when Nickelodeon, they brought out the kart racer, and that just turned out to be just
Trash.
just a waste of time
Yeah.
for everyone involved.
Yeah.
So I don't have too much sort of faith in this one, because what is Slap City like? Because I've never actually.
Not fine.
Because is that like a well-regarded fighting game?
Oh, no, it's not like fucking breaking world records, and it's not taking people away from Melee, but people who played Melee appreciated it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like Rivals of Aether and shit like that, where, Rivals of Aether was kind of just like, wow, look, it's Smash Brothers, but it's 2D, and you can play as a fish or an owl man.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Like, that's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Slap City sort of was. It was sort of like that.
Is it on Switch or just PC or?
Slap City, I think it's only on Steam.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you talk for a minute. I'll check that. But
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
Pretty sure it's only Steam.
Because personally for me, I do wish this is at least okay, because I would like to pick this up on a sale and just play it, because I love Smash Brothers. I know this won't be anywhere near, and I repeat, anywhere near the quality, but just the idea of like these Nickelodeon characters, like I love most of them. Just like Rugrats, I love that Reptar is the representative for that. I don't know if they're going to include any of the kids, but that might be a little bit weird, having like a kid like kicking a SpongeBob in the face, and I don't know about a baby jumping around, but I love how they brought Reptar in. It's like the Hey Arnold. What's her name? Helga? That's her name, isn't it, Bryce?
Helga from Hey Arnold.
Yeah, Helga. They got her in there, SpongeBob, Patrick. I do hope the Avatar characters are in there. I think they're a shoo-in. That's just really weird if they didn't include them, because that is probably my favorite Nickelodeon show. Cat Dog. I hope Cat Dog's included. That'd be a fun little moveset they could do with those two being included. So yeah.
Yeah, so Slap City is a $20 game on Steam only.
Yep.
And it features only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters, and they're all from Ludosity Games library. So it is basically Ludosity's Smash clone, using their own characters, including a really buff platypus.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Have you not seen the buff platypus before?
I haven't seen anything of that game, Bryce. I've never heard of it in my life.
I'll show you. Well,
I'm just imagining the platypus from like the mascot from the 2000 Australian Olympic Games. That's the platypus I have in my heart.
Look at there's a buff platypus punching a young child.
Okay, so maybe they will put the babies in from Rugrats if they got no problem with punching kids.
A buff platypus punching a young child. There you go.
Kind of reminds me of when we were playing Smash Brothers 64, and like Ness. We had no idea about Earthbound or anything. We just referred to him as the kid.
Yeah. Who the fuck is this thing?
It's like, it's Ness. Oh, there you go.
Delfino says, I think of Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. Like, yeah, really buff. Except he's blue, not green. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Uses a dumbbell for some reason.
That'll make his punches hurt way more, and he'll get way more of a burn.
Yeah, it's
way
like
more
a
of workout
knuckle duster, but it's a fucking dumbbell. It doesn't. Although it wouldn't work on some people's heads because they aren't thick enough. Just go straight through. You'd only be getting the fist. What's the point?
If you're punching with a dumbbell in your hand, that's a good way to break your fingers.
That's true.
It's not a smart idea.
But maybe that platypus has muscles upon muscles in its fingers. Those muscles grew muscles and it grew muscles.
Yeah, true. Anyway. All right, Bryce, before we get into Reggie's Rec Room, let's just do some House of Mario Red Coin releases before we get into that.
Okay.
So a very obvious one, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD for $80 on the Australian eShop. Go and get it if you wish. And that is pretty much it for this week. There's really not much coming out, so I just picked out 2 random games. Bryce, that's enough. I'm going to turn you down if you keep doing that. Okay, so the next one is Lambs on the Road at the beginning, and I picked this one out because, you know, every now and again as a farmer, we do get our lambs on the road, and last time one of our lambs went out on the road, a car hit it, and that became a bit of an insurance job for us. So this game brings back bad memories, but if you want those memories for yourself, you can get them for $4.50. So go and check that out. But just the sort of summary for it. Oh my God, Bryce, you're killing me here. So Lambs on the Road is a adventure platformer game with small puzzles. Help John to find her daughter in a post-apocalyptic world with plenty of danger. So yep, that is Lambs on the Road. Next one, Bryce, is a ASMR Journey jigsaw puzzle. This one is also a very cheap one. It's $25 off at the moment. $4.49 on the Australian eShop. A jigsaw puzzle game that takes you on a relaxing visit to lively and magical environments with a peaceful and serene environments. Okay, there you go. So yeah, it's literally just a jigsaw puzzle game, but I pulled those 2 out because there's literally nothing else. Just Skyward Sword this week. So if you want to waste your money, go and spend it on some video games.
Monster Hunter stories. Did we talk about that last week?
Oh yeah, that came out last week.
There you go.
I really want to get back to it, but I've had other games I had to play.
To fucking play Skyward Sword.
Yeah. I was also been playing an indie game that I can't talk about just yet either. But I've been loving it. So, yeah, that's true.
Know exactly what you're talking about.
Do you? Oh, good.
It's about Nah, I better not say anything. I can't say it without it being a slight spoiler.
Yeah, let's be honest here. I haven't signed anything, but just out of respect to, the boys that made it, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I'm actually recording
an episode regarding
with the developer or the writer tomorrow. So
that's right. Yes.
Look forward to that. That'll be going up at the end of the month. But anyway, Bryce, let's jump into Reggie's Rec Room. I've got a bit of a topic with us here because I feel bad for Reggie. He's writing a book and he's finished it. He's probably in getting in the publishing stages, and he's got no one to keep him company. So let's jump in there. And I've been wanting to talk about re-releases, and with Skyward Sword HD coming out. A lot of the Wii U games coming to Switch with a bit of extra content and stuff. And now PlayStation are also trying their hand into what Nintendo's doing with the director's cuts. And a lot of people have been a bit upset about their methods. And I'd like to discuss maybe the differences between what Nintendo's doing and PlayStation's doing. So let's jump in and talk about that.
Okay.
Hi, Nintendo fans.
Hey, Reggie.
Reggie here.
Oh, it's good to hear you again, man.
Thank you for your never-ending support, for giving me a mushroom kingdom full of incredible memories that I will never forget. Ever.
Yeah, that's all good, man. I heard you wrote a whole ass book while you were in here.
That's impressive.
Damn, son. How did you even get it out to the publisher? We keep this place locked tight.
Yeah, well, we must have got our internet passcode.
Mate, I left the typewriter over the other side of the room and you're chained to the bar.
Jesus!
Where the hell did you manage to get a second typewriter?
Yeah, you got to chain to the bar. I've never seen Reggie chained to anything. Is this some kink thing you're up to while I'm away?
No.
What's going on here?
He's chained up by the leg, mate. Like, you know.
Does that make it any better?
Well, yeah. I mean, if it was a dirty thing, it would be to a bed, like not to a bar. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, Bryce. You might be a bedless type of boy.
I mean, he's sitting behind the bar. He's like wiping some nice glasses clean. He's pouring us drinks. We just haven't been here for a few weeks. That's not the point anyway. Where the hell does the typewriter come from?
Yeah, I don't know. Why would he even have a typewriter? Is he that worried about us finding out what's going on?
Actually, you know what? I left a copy of Pokemon Typing Adventure in there.
Oh, God.
Shit. He wrote it all on Pokemon Typing Adventure. Well, there you go, guys. He wrote the entire book that he's getting published through Pokemon Typing Adventure. So credits to you, Reggie. I didn't think it was possible.
That's
but
impressive.
You did it, yeah. Pokemon Typing Adventure. Holy shit. Wasn't even released in the US. He imported a copy and got somebody to shove it through the mailbox slot. He managed to get the piranha plant to fetch it.
Yeah, so if they wanted to sell it in the US, it would have been Reggie's sort of yes or no to actually have that product in the US. So do you reckon Reggie held that from the US citizens just
To write the book?
to write the book in the future?
Conspiracy
Yeah,
theory.
I don't know. There's something going on here, Bryce.
I
don't
really
know.
wish I picked that stupid shit up. I can't believe I didn't.
Every now and again, you see it like really cheap. You're like, do I want that? You're like, oh, why would I want that? But it's a nice little collector's
It
piece,
really
I guess,
is,
for
yeah, because
DS,
it's not available in the US. So it's like, maybe I should get that. And then you're like, do I really just need a Bluetooth keyboard?
Can you use that Bluetooth keyboard on like your PC?
You absolutely can, yeah.
Fantastic.
It's just a regular Bluetooth keyboard. You could use it on your PS4, then you'd be portraying the monarchy. Woo!
Well, let's use that as a segue. So, PlayStation, they announced that they're bringing director's cuts, so enhanced versions of PlayStation 4 games to PlayStation 5. And what these versions basically include are enhancements for PlayStation 5, as well as other content they've made for the game.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, especially because their main competitor is Xbox, where a lot of their games with smart delivery, they move straight to the Series S or X version, depending on what console you've got. So it's a very, very sort of good way of keeping your customer up to date with the latest software for their compatible device, which I think is fantastic. And ever since I was listening to an interview with Phil Spencer on Giant Bomb a couple of years ago, and they were asking him about Halo Infinite, and they were saying, oh well, with Halo Infinite, what's going to happen with this? Is there going to be an upgrade path where you pay $10 and you get the Series X version, or is it going to be free, or what the go is? And Phil Spencer's basically his point was if someone's bought a Series X, why would we limit someone to the Xbox One version when they've bought our hardware, they're playing our software, but it just doesn't run and look as good? And that just puts something in my head, like that's obvious. Like why would you want your product to look worse? So if someone came over to your house and said, oh, this is the new Xbox, that's Halo, it doesn't look very good. So, oh, well, I haven't spent the $10 to upgrade to the Series X version. That's just dumb. So when it comes to, say, the PlayStation side of things, where there is an upgrade for Ghost of Tsushima to the PlayStation 5 version, and they're also doing it for Death Stranding as well. And there's a few things I sort of feel about this. One, that the new content and expansions and stuff they're doing, I think that is fair enough to charge for. I think any video game, if they're adding additional content, is worth to pay for it. It's people's time, it's people's resources. At the end of the day, that is what motivates them to support games. So I'm happy spending money for that. And Nintendo does that a lot as well. Whether it was Mario Kart 8 on Wii U or Super Smash Brothers with the 2 DLC passes and multiple more games, there's good examples of that throughout the industry. So I've got no problem with that. But a lot of people are sort of looking at these games sort of thing, why do we have to pay for the upgrades? Like, I get there's dev time for the adaptive triggers and stuff on the PlayStation 5, but that is ultimately just showing off what the PlayStation 5 can do. So when people come over to your house or you're talking about it with your friends, you'll be able to point them in that direction. Just say how good it is. This is why you need one over an Xbox or a Nintendo. But what I really want to talk about is comparing it to Nintendo, because it made me think, and I think Nintendo gets away with it for a couple of reasons, which I'll go into. But we've seen multiple Wii U games come out, being the same price, if not more. In the case of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Tropical Country.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's just like a lot of examples of double dipping for Wii U games. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, that has obviously had a lot more time between it, a lot more enhancements, but it's still an $80 game, which, you can make a debate left or right, depending on what you want to put it as. But with everything I've just said, Bryce, we'll jump into maybe what you think. How do you feel about Nintendo's take on the re-release? Because PlayStation, they're trying a similar thing to what Nintendo do. But yeah, what do you think?
You know what? I think with the Wii U releases, I can almost excuse it. Skyward Sword and releases like that, I don't think so. Now look, I think it's objectively like a product of the time, and being like, the Wii version of Skyward Sword was cheaper. It came out more expensive. It is just a re-release game, and if you paid $10 more than what the cost price is of Skyward Sword HD back in the days when you had the Wii version instead, you get a whole ass controller for the game.
I mean, the controller, that pack up there is $120 back in the day for the Wiimote. So, yeah, imagine if you got the Joy-Cons in the game for that price. That'd be nice.
Yeah, but like, that is incredible, and it come with a soundtrack as well. Oh, holy fuck, man! Like there was purpose and reason to having it. Obviously, like you couldn't play the game without them. You could play Skyward Sword HD without these Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
But who cares? It doesn't matter. It's really expensive for a Wii re-release. Now, as we sort of discussed at the start of the episode, the re-release it's fine. Like, it's a serviceable way to play Skyward Sword, especially if you're a first-time consumer. It is fine. However, with the Wii U games, the console itself didn't get enough attention to warrant many sales in many games whatsoever. Most people that bought the Wii U bought it because it had Smash. At the end of the day, right? And I mean, how much did Mario Kart sell on the Wii U? Like 4 mil, 6 mil?
I got to look it up, but it was more than that. It was probably double that.
You reckon? So 8 mil.
Yeah, roughly. I've got to look it up. I can't remember.
Look at it on the Switch.
Yeah, well,
Jesus motherfucking Christ! Like, that just shows how much of a consumer base of Nintendo that actually never got to experience Mario Kart 8. Because at the end of the day, the Wii sold many, many consoles. So many consoles as it was ridiculous.
Yeah, so Mario Kart 8 on Wii U is 8.45 million.
Yeah, right. So 8.45 million, right? And now on the Switch, it's sold over 30.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot of Mario Kart 8 in like disparity. It's literally, 4 times the amount on the Switch.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at it from that prospect and you think about the other games that maybe didn't get as much attention, so you're thinking like, Pokken Tournament or Horror Warriors, I guess, for example, by comparison, those games were never destined to sell as much as Mario Kart, and therefore they objectively did a lot worse. And on a console that only sold 12 million units, it's hard to tell whether they lost money or gained money from most of these, because you can't really tell. But obviously they at the very best, they would have made a little bit of a profit, and on the average margin they would have evened out, right? But it feels a little bit, especially from a developer's perspective, it feels kind of annoying to chuck out all that work just to even out. So they made Switch copies, and that is fine.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, especially since the time between a lot of these games and them coming out on Switch.
Pikmin 3, for fuck's sake. Like,
yeah. And
that is a good thing.
There's a decent amount of time between them.
Yeah.
But how do you feel, say, as a Wii U owner who did buy those games?
I'm getting there.
and
Don't
them
worry.
coming on Switch.
Don't worry. I'm getting there.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
I bought them.
Yes.
And the reason I bought them is because the Wii U had fucking great software. And the reason I bought them again is because I wanted to play that software in a less fucking annoying way than using a Wii U gamepad. And I knew I would enjoy the software, so I paid the price tag. Right? It's obvious that its targeted audience when they made these re-releases was not for people that played it at all. Like, no question. But I bought them anyway because I liked the games enough. So that was fine by me. I had no issues with that.
Yep.
Me purchasing them for full price, like, yeah, maybe they could have been like, you know, oh, you're a Wii U owner, here, let me throw you a bone. And they could have given me something, but they already kind of did that by giving me a free game back in the day.
Yeah, so if you bought 2 games or
Yeah.
something like that, if you put them into my Nintendo
that's right.
rewards, you got the claim one.
You got to claim a free game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
That's
actually did give us a bit of support for that. And they did that with the 3DS ambassadors as well. They're like, all right, here's some exclusives nobody else is ever going to get. So, you know, it's not that it never fucking happened, right? We did get rewarded for it in some prospect. Maybe the Wii U's was kind of like a pretty average reward, but we still got rewarded for it. I would have liked maybe if, say, on the Nintendo store, for example, like you could buy them digitally and it had recognized that you had playtime in these games or something like that, that maybe you would get a discount. That would be cool, like on the digital storefront.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, not that fussed. It's fine. But yeah, I can see it anyway. The point is that, like, you know, Wii U had great software. A lot of people didn't get to experience it, and using Mario Kart as a catalyst to how well those games could have sold on a console that actually did well, and the fact that profit margins on the Wii U would have been incredibly shit for any developer, I think it's fair to re-release them. However, with cases like Skyward Sword, where it is literally coming from a console that had how many? You're the Wii master. How much did the Wii sell?
101 million.
101 million. 101 million consoles sold for the Wii. It's, how much is the Switch sold now? About 70 something million?
Yeah, about 80. About 80.
About 80 now. Yeah, so about 80 million. So the Switch isn't even really quite caught up to the Wii yet, but it's getting pretty effing close. And most people that played the Switch probably played the Wii back in the day. Not gonna lie. They had ample opportunity to pick up Skyward Sword back then. They end up not doing it because the Wii was sort of ending it at its swan song. It's coming on the Switch at a more expensive price. Yes, that's fucking irritating. The fact that it costs more is fucking irritating. You can't help it, and they're going to do it, but I do think it's a little bit egregious that they put that price tag on a Wii game that many people would have fucking played and they would have already made massive profits from. That's fucking annoying.
I'm actually looking at the sales for Skyward Sword on the Wii, and it pretty much failed. The Switch release is going to smash this. It
probably.
Sold 3.5 million.
Yeah. Because it was at the swan song.
Yeah, people were over the Wii by then. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, that's not even the thing. Is it's not even the fact that it was a swan song that it was attribution to its failing.
It's just the position console was at.
Yeah, but it was that, but it was also a very criticized game from the moment it was released. And a lot of people were just like, well, my Wii's dead anyway. I really can't be fucked playing a game that I'm not going to be motivated to play.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, I get it. Maybe Skyward Sword didn't do too well. They want to re-release it, see where it goes. They've just released this shiny new Breath of the Wild trailer, and this is where the manipulation sort of comes in. This shiny new Breath of the Wild 2 trailer has remnants of Skyward Sword, and you're just like, fuck, now I think I need to play this. Right? And you know what? It probably still does. Have those connections and stuff like that and a legitimate reason to play it. But that is a manipulation tactic. They're like, here's Skyward Sword. We're not showing anything in Breath of the Wild 2 today. It's like, man, I don't really have that much interest in Skyward Sword. But then they show that trailer off really close to the release date for Skyward Sword. And people are like, now, well, fuck.
Guess I'm playing it.
Guess I'm playing it.
Guess I'm buying it.
And that is exactly what they've done with this. And it is very, very plain sight, clear, and obvious. I don't like it. I don't think they should do it again. And if they're going to release something like that, then it should be... They just fucking released Mario Galaxy, considered one of the best games on the Wii, in a collection package. Sure, it wasn't as worked on as maybe Skyward Sword was. I get that. But they released it in a package of 3 different games for the same cost price. It's a little bit annoying. Skyward Sword could have had like maybe that upscale, button controls added, which is pretty much all it had done. And then a fucking amiibo support that, I mean, well, okay, hang on. Like with the text boxes and stuff, they could have even just left them in. Like the minuscule changes that they made to make the game like a more casual experience. They could have just not done that at all, released it at a $40 price tag, and I think people still would have been fine even without those quality of life changes if you cut down the price by $40, because it is a game you are going to play once, and we discussed this earlier.
Yeah, I mean, on the Wii U, they did have it on the Virtual Console for, was it $20 or $30? I can't quite remember.
The Wii Virtual Console titles were $27.
$27. So, you know, they kind of did do that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it's kind of fucking annoying.
Yeah, but like the thing is, just from like a marketing perspective, you're going to get nowhere near the amount of like splash and hype then it's just like, hey, Virtual Console doesn't exist at the moment, but say if it did on Switch, you'll get nowhere near the amount of sort of hype and buzz than re-releasing it, putting this new stuff into it.
Here's the thing is, like, I want to take this from the perspective of a game that was released around about the same time, and that's Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles HD come out not that long ago, right? I've always heralded that game as one of the best on the Wii that pushes the system to its absolute limits. It's very, very beautiful for the type of game it was at the time. You know, its art style definitely shows these days, but at the time it was a huge world, fucking brimming with life, lots of stuff to do. And that game got re-released recently, and it got a whole new chapter added to the game. The visual overhaul was far greater than that of what Skyward Sword HD's done. Let's not lie. That's definitely 100%. It definitely is. Huge, huge overhaul. And that game was sold at the same cost price. A little bit more expensive than Xenoblade Chronicles was back in the day. Absolutely, yes. But you got additional content for that price tag. Not a lot of people also experienced that game. That game only sold in the hundreds of thousands. It didn't even sell in the millions. Right?
Yeah, it got like a spread release worldwide.
That's right.
As well. Came late to the US.
Absolutely, yeah.
Limited copies printed.
It was completely staggered. And I guess they looked at the sales for this, for Xenoblade. They looked at the sales for Xenoblade, and they're like, we could do this for Skyward Sword. But I think the problem with Skyward Sword is they didn't put enough effort in to make it a unique product. And that's where it differs.
I don't know. I think Skyward. I think you're forgetting what it looked like on Wii. Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword.
Yeah, because like looking at like side by side comparisons, it's like, woof. Like the HD version does look a lot better. Draw distance are improved. The blurriness in the background.
Want you to tell me this, and then I want you to look at a side by side comparison of Xenoblade Chronicles. It is fucking abashed how different it is.
Yes, I know that.
So no, I'm not forgetting it. Trust me, I know Skyward Sword was in 480p and looked muddy and fucking doesn't look as nice.
Because I remember the direct for Xenoblade, like, oh, yeah, that looks about how I remember it. And then you actually compare them to one another. Oh no, they've done a bit to this game.
Yeah,
especially like in the actual HD or the definitive edition, it does look a lot more like anime in line with Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
That's right. They set it up so that it actually looks more within the same universe.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people complained about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because they're like, this doesn't look like my Xenoblade Chronicles anymore. I'm very mad about this. Now this looks very anime. I'm like, fucking checkmate, fucking realists. It always was a fucking anime game. Everything about Xenoblade Chronicles is anime.
It's just the way.
There's power trips. Yeah. You know, there's fucking a protagonist with a flary costume and a fucking blonde hairstyle that's got lots of spiky little hair bits. There's fucking mechas in it. Man, Xenoblade Chronicles was an anime game.
It's made by Japanese.
It's made by a Japanese developer. It's fucking, and it was an anime game. And the only reason it looked as muddy and undished as it was because it was the Wii.
Yeah.
And they changed that with the Switch release, and it fucking looks incredible. They added extra content onto it that helps bridge some things together to make a more complete experience for both that and 2. And that's good. Skyward Sword, nothing added. They added in amiibo support with a fucking $40-something amiibo. right? They added in, they gave you Joy-Cons. If you wanted the full complete package of like what's new in Skyward Sword HD, how much are you paying? Let's see, 150 plus the game. That's 80. That's $230 for a game that was selling at 110 with a controller. That's less than half the cost price for the full experience at the time to get the complete package back on the Wii. It's very egregious.
Didn't get in the Amiibo back in the day though.
You didn't, but you got a soundtrack, and arguably, I'd argue that it would have been better regardless anyway.
I'll tell you what, that soundtrack, because it was a celebration of the 25th year.
It absolutely was, yes.
25 years of Zelda. And I unboxed that game straight away, and we smashed it on the way home.
Yes.
I loved it. That symphony orchestra is...
Oh, shit, yes.
It's amazing.
Beautiful soundtrack.
Oh, my God. That was such a good way to get hyped to get home and play that game.
Yeah, and then it objectively hurt us like a week later. But...
Oh, look, I'm not feeling hurt, Bryce. It's been plenty of time. I've gotten over it. I enjoy the good aspects of Skyward Sword.
You will say that until you get to about the progress of where I'm at now.
Oh, don't you worry about that, huh?
You will. I know you will. Because it does. It comes back to you just like, fuck me. But anyway.
Comes back to fuck me.
Yes, that's right.
That's what you said.
Yeah, that's right. And it does. My poor soul. Anyway, you know, that's what it comes down to is that, you know, the effort with the Wii U products not so bad because
personally with like the Wii U stuff,
don't care.
Just with how different those systems are, and like there's no way for backwards compatibility on a Switch. There's like, you know, obviously not the gamepad, very like they're just different, just architecture from each system. Yeah, jumping to one another. So it's just there's no way it's going to necessarily work anyway. I would prefer a discount. But
shit happens. You can't do anything about that. But you know, at the end of the day, like even when you take those Wii U ports out and you compare like other releases, the problem is that comparing Skyward Sword and Xenoblade Chronicles is actually a very close comparison because they were released around the same time, and the packages that you get in the Switch versions of these two games is completely different. Yeah,
just like on the PlayStation side of things, I feel like PlayStation are just copying it because Ghost of Tsushima, I think that is one of the more egregious ones. That game came out last year.
That's right.
That was 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
How much does the upgrade cost?
I think it's roughly $10 American. No idea about here.
I'm not sure that matters.
Yeah, but I guess with the PlayStation 4, I can play my copy of Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, which is irritating. Yeah,
I think it feels worse that you've got to say buy a new edition. But that is kind of just punishing them for having backwards compatibility on their platform. Just like, oh, I can play it. Why can't you just give me the free stuff? It's like, well, we could just not have included backwards compatibility.
Are you forced to upgrade?
No, you're not forced.
Then who cares?
You're not forced. Yeah.
If this is optional, then who gives a shit?
Because really, you've got an option to pay for it. It sucks compared to what Xbox is doing with the upgrades.
Yeah, but Xbox have needed to make up for a lot of work for a long time.
Oh, of course. Yeah, PlayStation are on top of the hill at the moment.
They have been for, a long time.
Yeah. And like it's not like we're getting free, well, not free, but paid upgrades. So if you want Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on your Switch, it's not a $10 upgrade. There's no option. At least on the PlayStation side, there are those options. So just if you're in like the PlayStation ecosystem, I know it kind of sucks looking over compared to Xbox, but if you don't want it, you don't have to buy it. And if you do want it, at least there is that upgrade path to the next console version.
I mean, the thing is at the end of the day, this isn't a stranger concept. This actually happened, and Delphina reminded me chatting about this happened with the Wii.
Yeah, Wii to Wii U.
Wii to Wii U. You had to pay like a 30-cent upgrade to get it on the home screen of the fucking Wii U menu.
Yeah, just like with the actual Wii U features instead of booting up backwards compatibility mode. Yeah. And when you think back to that, it's like, Nintendo, you fucking serious? You're going to make me go to the effort of getting a 30-cent transaction from my credit card or $1 or whatever it was? You're really going to just go to the effort? Like that was really stingy. That was...
It was kind of, yeah.
It's like, why?
It was a bit ridiculous, but at the same time, it's just like, if you really want that functionality, then fuck it.
It's there. It's there.
But it's not required to play the game, like at the end of the day, you know? The thing is like what I've learned through my little bits of experience of Wii U hacking is that the Wii menu in the Wii, the virtual Wii, is actually extremely handy for a lot of things. A lot of things. And that includes emulating GC.
Yeah.
Hugely, like, because you can't just emulate that off the Wii menu. It uses the VWii, because the VWii is just, you know, you can't put GameCube discs into the Wii U. It doesn't work. It doesn't have the disk drive for it. But it is a carbon copy of a Wii OS. It is not a reconstruction. So, like, you know, you do things around that.
The Wii U is such a Russian doll. It's like, it's a Wii U.
Yeah, it is.
Take
it's a fucking Matryoshka doll.
Yeah, it's just that you take it away. There's a Wii. You take that away. There's a GameCube. It's like,
take that GameCube away. There's a fucking GameCube adapter that you can play GameCube games on or some bullshit.
Yeah.
Fucking Jesus.
I wish you could just keep taking them away. It's like, oh, Nintendo 64's in here as well. Oh, look, a Super Nintendo.
Oh shit, yeah. And like that's what the Wii U is good for, though. You know. And people are starting to wake up to that now. Far too late, like in its own right, but like, you know, arguably it's for the wrong reasons. I get that, you know, obviously modding your consoles and stuff like that under the legal confines of you doing it is fine. Obviously piracy is not a fine act and you probably shouldn't pirate. But the thing is like the Wii U is extremely versatile at a low price point with no real interruptions. And I know that the Switch can sort of do that too, but it's also like you need a base Switch model, like a launch day Switch to do it. You can't do it the same way with like the newer Switches because they're better at whatever. But the Wii U is, yeah, it's fantastic for that type of thing.
Yeah, so what you're saying is don't buy re-releases, just pirate them.
No. Because that's illegal. What I'm saying is that the thing is with these extra charges to get an upgraded version, look, I know there really are a pain in the ass. Maybe $10 is probably too much. I think that is kind of like the step footnote, right? Like if somebody goes out and buys a game for PS4, they're like, boy, can't wait to get home and play this on my PS5. Never played it before. And they're like, here's the PS5 upgradable version for an extra $10. Maybe that's a little bit irritating. But for the people that already own the game, and have since those games have launched, so say games like Ghost of Tsushima or whatever, $10 doesn't really seem like that much of a jump up just to get that little bit of an extra oomph out of it. But for people who are buying the game off the store shelf, going home and then realizing you can pay an extra $10 to get an upgrade, it's probably more infuriating to those people. If it was a bit cheaper, I think it'd be fine. But why they're copying it when Nintendo can release something like, you know, Skyward Sword or a Wii U port or something like that, you know, is pretty fucking weird.
Yeah. Do you feel like Nintendo get away with it because of their sort of place in the industry where they are, you know, I guess beloved for their IP, so people will pay for it? Whereas Ghost of Tsushima, people love it, but it's been around a year, so
I think it's more of a case of Nintendo fans don't have a choice anymore. We don't have Virtual Console anymore. So when these things come out and they're like, here it is for $80, just buy it. Come on, just buy it. Eat the carrot on the stick. They're kind of like, oh, well, I guess I just have to do it because I got no Virtual Console anymore. So I'm gonna fucking
with the Wii having the Wii U having a Virtual Console from NES all the way up to Wii, and now having no Virtual Console apart from limited titles on NES and Super Nintendo, you can see why now. They re-released Skyward Sword for more than twice what they were charging for it on Wii U, even though there was development that went into it, but still a very good turnaround for Nintendo because they're going to release Breath of the Wild 2 and charge $90 for it, but they can just remaster Skyward Sword and charge $80. It's like it's nuts, just like how they price these things, how they're very similar, but yeah, I don't know.
And once I get through Skyward Sword, like again, I was not paid, and I was given the game for free. So whether that affects your opinion on my opinion or not, or whether it's worth it, is, you know, whatever. But speaking from a consumer who would have paid for the game even if I didn't.
Yeah.
So far, I'm kind of like, man, this product just feels like an excuse to get me to play Skyward Sword. I'll be honest. Not that Skyward Sword is bad. It is fine in its storytelling. Not so great in its repetitive. But is it worth that amount of money? Nah, not from the perspective of somebody that's already played it.
Yeah.
I think that's fun. The only... Damn.
Oh God.
The only thing I'm getting out of it now is I'm reliving the story. I don't care about the fights or whatever. I've already done them. Some of the fights are fun. Some of the boss fights are great. Skuldera, fun boss. Throw a bomb down a hole, make him eat it, stab him in the eye. Great fun. But like apart from that, I'll do lightning round, get my Hylian shield, do what I consider completionist objectives, and then go and kill the boss, and I'll be done with it. And you know what? I probably won't launch Skyward Sword for the rest of the time that I own the Switch. Does that mean I think it's bad? No. It just means I don't want to play it again. And as a Zelda fan, that's a little bit awkward because I will play a lot of Zelda games again and again and again and again. But Skyward Sword is one of those games I won't.
Awkward.
And I think that's the case for a lot of people. It is definitely a game you should experience once. At a price tag of $80, I feel like I shouldn't have to only experience once because it's, a little bit...
Should have to experience that about 5 times.
Breath of the Wild, I sunk the same amount of money into Breath. Well, I didn't sink any money into Skyward Sword, but my point is that like they cost the same amount of money. Breath of the Wild, I've put over 200 hours in. In Skyward Sword, I'd be lucky to put 30 before I'm done with it entirely.
Yeah. I mean, you can't compare.
No, you can't.
Time spent as just like to one another, being the exact same.
No, you can't. But time spent in a game generally reflects my enjoyment of the product. I'm not going to spend 200 hours in a game that I don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, probably not. I'd hope you wouldn't.
Exactly.
It's a tremendous waste of time.
That is a friggin' huge waste of time.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, there's plenty for me to do, and I enjoy my time with the game whenever I boot it up. And that's great. Skyward Sword is a game that I played years ago. Semi-enjoyed my time with it. Got through the story, never played it again. For a decade. Literal decade. It's the 10th year anniversary for that game. And now I'm playing it again, and I'm like, as I'm coming to the end of it, I'm like, I remember why I didn't want to play this again. So here we are.
Here we are. So, Bryce, he's not a big fan of re-releases.
I'm fine with the Wii U ones.
You're fine with the Wii U ones.
And I'm fine with, and with the Xenoblade Chronicles, as an example, I'm fine with re-releases that get a more fleshed out experience. Conclusive, like a conclusive side story, of which I still haven't played. I really need to get around to doing that. The, what do they call it? Something episode.
Yeah, I forgot to.
Well, the extra episode. Let's just call it the extra episode.
Yep.
Having something like that helps bridge the connection between the two games when those games are very intricately connected in a specific way, but you won't know how until you play through. But having those games connected and having that bridge that they added in to make it there, that's cool. That's good. It gives you more flavor context. It gives you a reason to do it. Now, if they had taken Skyward Sword and they were like,
Here's a bridge to Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah. And done like a little thing where it's just like, here's how things could happen. That would make so much more sense. And it would make it so much better. Get me more hyped.
What I was also expecting is when they remade Ocarina of Time 3D, there was an Easter egg for Skyward Sword in that game before Skyward Sword came out.
Yeah.
So I was thinking they might have like put an Easter egg for another Zelda game in this HD version, but
I haven't heard anything.
No, I haven't heard anything either. Maybe it's very well hidden. Don't know. It's only been out a few days, so
I don't think there'd be anything in it, and that that is a problem at the end of the day. It's like you can tell where the effort is. If a development team can go back and work on a game that is literally a decade old, because Xenoblade Chronicles was, to add additional content into the game, then surely they could have done it with Skyward Sword in some prospect. But hero mode is something that was already in there, and it's the only extra content in the game, apart from the main story.
Yeah. Oh well, It is what it is. You still got more to play, my friend. Still got more to play.
Another 5 hours, maybe.
You're not going to escape it this quick, mate.
I'll be done tomorrow. I can guarantee it. I'll be done tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to go home after this. I'm going to go home, get into bed, probably smash out 3 temples before I go to sleep, and then finish it tomorrow morning. I can guarantee it.
All right. I believe you. Let me know.
Well, temples. I call them temples, but sections. There you go. They're about an hour each, maybe an hour and a half. So,
all right. Anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up the show, Bryce?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. I think we had a pretty good show this week.
Oh, yeah.
Talked about a lot of stuff.
We had a lot to talk about, realistically.
We did, yeah.
Like, Skyward Sword, obviously, the Steam Deck, and then this Nickelodeon fucking Smash thing.
Oh, yeah. No, that was the biggest thing of them all.
No, it's just, it was interesting because it was kind of like, here's a Smash competitor, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
But
I don't view it as a Smash competitor. I see it as a...
Well, it depends. The Metal E players might jump onto it. There's a lot of nostalgia in kids' television shows, and you got to think about all these things that people have asked for over the years, like, let's put Goku in Smash Brothers. Could happen, man.
Sakurai's like, I tell you what, guys.
Actually getting closer, technically, if they put Aang and Korra in there, soon enough we will have Goku in a Smash Bros. Game.
No, it'll never happen.
No, not like an actual Smash Brothers game, but like a Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Yeah,
clone. Yeah,
because Sakurai just sees that Aang and Korra's in Nickelodeon All-Stars.
Quick, get Goku. Fulfill the meme. Imagine if that's the last DLC past character. It's just like he said he'd never do it. He would never have anything that's not a gaming personality specifically in Smash Brothers, and then the last character is Goku.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Could you imagine the Sakurai presents? It's like, it goes for 5 seconds. I was like, I fucking lied. And that's it.
It'd be so funny.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening to the House of Mario episode 198. If you'd like to support the show, you can leave us an Apple Podcast like our friend from Great Britain did at the start of the show. Thank you very much. If you'd like to keep up with the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow myself at iDruby. You can follow Bryce at IVRevan. And you can follow the show at the House of Mario for all of the updates coming to the show. And if you'd like to join our Discord community, you can. There is an invite in the show notes. Please click on it. Please join. We'd love to have you in our little community. We love everyone in there very, very, very much.
Yum, yum.
Yum, 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 yum. And if you got this far, go into the House of Mario Discord and go to the general section and leave the hashtag Elmo loves Drew. Hashtag Elmo loves Drew. I had a very unfortunate moment back in 2011 where I had to say to Elmo, you can't play Skyward Sword. And honestly, Bryce, we haven't talked ever since.
Oh, no.
No.
You and bloody Elmo.
Tell you what, we might have to rekindle that friendship, but not tonight.
Oh.
Yes. And of course, thank you very much to our Patreon producers, DJ, Sam Hay, and Alex Harding. We appreciate you guys very much.
DJ Hay the Harding.
DJ Hay the Harding.
DJ Hay the Harding.
Imagine if they're all just like the one person and that is their name.
Dun, 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 dun. My name's DJ Hay the Harding. Bum, 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 bum. I am a fused amalgamation.
Until next week, guys.
Bye.
The House of Mario, the doors to the House of Mario are closed.
The house of Mario to the doors are closed.
Au revoir.
Sayonara.